Hey everyone, it's Chad from Sportegrity Media, finally back at you with a new video. It's been a while, but I can't wait to just get back into it and start talking some more sports. In today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about last week's NFL playoff action, some cool things happening with the Super Bowl tickets that are going to go on sale, and that game coming up in a couple weeks, and with Collin Sexton and his amazing performance against the Nets and their new Big Three a few days ago. So thank you for tuning in, and thanks for sticking with me with these videos. And without further ado, let's get into some of these sports stories. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are just an amazing story that I've just loved to follow all season, and especially it's just awesome to see the funny bromance that Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs have really developed in the last really over the course of the whole season. But last weekend they were able to pull off the victory against the Ravens, and they keep that train going. And if it weren't for a Hail Mary pass to the Cardinals, halfway into the season, the Bills I think it's like they would have won 12 games in a row heading into this. So they're really the hottest team in the NFL, and they're definitely running into a big roadblock with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs this weekend. But I think the Bills can pull it off. But, it's just funny to see, Josh Allen and how much he and Diggs have really just developed this amazing chemistry. I saw an interview after the game, and just take a look at this.
He works hard, he busts his, not the A-word, he busts his A-word. And I just love this guy, man. That's it.
Congratulations.
It's just funny how, they just truly enjoy having each other on the team. And I think that's really going to pay off this weekend. I think Diggs and Allen are going to keep that train going. And I think the Bills are going to go into Arrowhead. They're going to pull off the upset, and they're going to go to the Super Bowl. And the Bills are 0-4 in the Super Bowl. So it would be really nice to see them finally win a championship for that fan base. With being a Vikings fan, we're 0-4 in the Super Bowl. So hopefully we're the next team up in a few years. Don't have a lot of optimism for it. But for now, I'm on the Bills bandwagon and hoping to see them take it home. Now let's talk Tom Brady. Now with Brady, you either love the guy or you hate the guy. There's really no in between. But whether you love him or hate him, you have to respect him. And I definitely respect him. And I think he's the best quarterback of all time, along with a lot of other people. He just continues to prove that, in my opinion. Even with the new team, he's switched over to a different conference, switched over to the NFC. And here he is back in the conference title game, even if it's with a different team. And it's his 14th conference title game in the course of his whole career. That is just amazing to me. In the years that he's played, 20 or more years, however many it is, more than half of those years, he's been in the AFC or the NFC championship. That is insane. And a lot of people say, well, Belichick is such a good coach. He's had all this talent around him on defense with the Patriots. He's disproving a lot of that this year, even though the Bucs do have a very good roster and he's got a lot of weapons. Brady is back, and he's determined. You can tell. And I personally am so excited to watch Brady versus Rodgers in the NFC Championship this weekend. This is a matchup that we have rarely seen before because with the Patriots and the Packers, when Brady was with New England, they rarely played each other because obviously different conferences. But now they're both in the NFC, and Brady and Rodgers in a duel to see who goes to the Super Bowl. I think it's going to be an instant classic. It's going to be a can't miss game. I will be glued to the television, and I think the Bucs are going to pull it off. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think the Buccaneers are going to walk into Lambeau. I don't know if it's going to be snowy or cold or what the weather looks like, but I think Brady is going to bring this team to the big game. And I already mentioned I want the Bills to win and I want the Bucs to win. And so that means we could potentially have a Bucs and Bills Super Bowl. Now, I don't think a lot of people are really talking about it much, but how funny would it be if we see the Bills, have this strong season, they finally have control of the AFC East, they make it to the big game and are one game away, only to meet Tom Brady on the other side of the field, the man that has dominated their division, the man that has kept their team from seeing any success for, around 2 decades. and they have the opportunity to slay the dragon in the biggest game, the biggest stage. And so the Bills can either pull off an incredible victory to finally get rid of all of that disappointment that has come at the hands of Tom Brady, or Brady is going to see them in the big game, and Brady is going to do what he's always done, beat the Bills and just, overcome them. So I think that would be a really interesting Super Bowl to see, and I wouldn't really care who wins that game, but, it's just amazing to see Brady having all the success. Now, the next thing that I saw this week that was pretty cool is the NFL announced their plans for Super Bowl tickets. And so the NFL is going to allow 22,000 fans. I think that's the exact amount. I don't know if it's more or less, but they're going to have 22,000 fans in Tampa for the Super Bowl. And I'm just glad that we're going to have a decent crowd for that game. Leading up to, the season, you really started to wonder, are we really going to see a Super Bowl with no one in the stadium? But as the seasons went on, a lot of these places have kind of expanded their fan capacity. And, what's really cool is this is just a really great example of how sports are starting to get back on the right track, whereas everything was put on hold and had no fans in the stands. Not only with the NFL, but every other league across the country is starting to, get back to resuming sports, but also allowing fans to go in person. And so this is just really awesome. But the thing that was especially cool with the Super Bowl tickets themselves is the NFL is setting aside $7,500 around there for healthcare workers. So for vaccinated healthcare workers, with everything they've been going through with COVID and this pandemic in the last year or so, they're going to reserve that many tickets. So about a third of the tickets are going to go to workers in the healthcare industry. So that is just really cool. And I think it's just awesome for those people to have a chance to take a break from that hardworking industry and really just enjoy a football game in person. And so that was really cool to me. And I think it just shows, just the potential that sports have to just reach out to people and, create that distraction no matter what's going on in the world. And so definitely a nice way to thank those that have been on the front lines all throughout this pandemic. Now, the last story I want to focus on from this past week is with Collin Sexton. So I was watching the Cavs-Nets game a few days ago. The Cavaliers beat the Nets in double overtime, but it was largely due to Collin Sexton's incredible performance. He just absolutely went toe-to-toe with their new big three in Brooklyn, and he finished with 42 points in that game. But in overtime, he scored 20 straight points for the Cavaliers. So he carried that team into a huge win, especially against an Eastern Conference opponent. So Collin Sexton just continues to add to his dominant breakout season. And as of that game, he became the first player in Cavs history to score 20 or more points in each of his first 10 games of the season. So that is just incredible to me. And if he keeps playing the way he does and the pieces around him start to contribute more and more here and there, the Cavs can finally find their way back into the playoffs and finally have some success, within the last couple decades that wasn't led by a man named LeBron James. So it's definitely a new era that's starting to form there in Cleveland, and hopefully they turn it around and they can, build around that young core that they have and find some success there. And that will do it for today's video. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed my views on sports this week. And, like I said, these are just a few of my favorite stories of the week. Obviously, there's other things that have been going on in sports, but there's only so much you can focus on without it being an hour-long video. So let me know in the comments what you think about the things that I mentioned with, the Bills, Tom Brady, with Collin Sexton, and what's going on with the Super Bowl. I'd love to, have some conversations about that. And also if there's any cool stories that you've seen in sports that I didn't talk about or that you want to get my perspective on, I'm always open to do that in the comments. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll be coming at you with videos every week from now on. No excuses, staying on the grind, and, hope you stay with me for the ride. With all that being said, we got some amazing sports coming up this weekend, so go out and enjoy your sports.